Imagine it's 3 a.m. The glow of your partner's phone lights up the room. A notification flashes across the screen. It's from a name you don't recognize. The message? A trail of heart eye emojis. And if you've ever been in that moment, staring at that screen, you know exactly how fast trust can start to splinter. Your mind is racing. Who is this? Why are they sending that? And should I even care? Because in relationships, suspicion doesn't always start with proof. Sometimes it starts with imagination. And that's what makes it so powerful and so dangerous. But that moment says less about your partner's phone and more about what's happening between the two of you. So let's talk about it. I'm Sam, and this is The Connection Room. The American author Louise Fitzhugh once wrote, "Some people are one way and some people are another, and that's that." That line's always stuck with me because it speaks to how we're all shaped by different roads. Our past experiences, the relationships we've seen modeled, the traumas we've carried, they all form how we show up for each other today. That's why some of us need constant openness, reassurance, transparency. Others were more private, guarded, maybe even overprotective of what we consider ours. And when you put those two types of people in a relationship, especially in a world where your phone is basically an extension of yourself, it's bound to get complicated. Think about it. Your phone isn't just a gadget. It's how you plan your nights out with friends, keep up with work, text your partner that you're coming home early.
Yeah, boy.
It's your photo album, your diary, your group chats, your browser history. The same phone that helps you send a sweet good morning text can also help you destroy trust in 3 taps. It connects us and it tests us all at once. You see, I know couples who share everything, passwords, bank pins, even each other's playlists, because for them, transparency is how they communicate their love. But I also know couples who thrive on privacy, and they'd never dream of swapping phones, let alone bank cards, not because they're hiding something, but because independence feels like love to them. The truth is, phones hold a lot more than texts. They hold private family conversations, financial details, moments of vulnerability that we might not be ready to share. So when your partner is saying, "Nah, I'd rather keep my phone to myself," that doesn't always mean that they're hiding a side piece. But here's a plot twist. What if the real danger isn't what your partner is doing online, but what you're assuming that they're doing? Because social media doesn't just sit quietly in our lives and behave itself. It acts like a third party in your relationship. Every like, follow, and DM becomes a data point your brain interprets. Maybe it's your partner following that influencer whose pictures always look a little too risque.
And we bind the spirit of Jezebel in the wife.
Maybe it's a late night comment that feels inappropriate to you. Maybe it's the casual banter in DMs with somebody that they used to know. And it might sound small, but the data says otherwise. A 2023 survey from the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers found that 81% of divorce lawyers reported an increase in social media related evidence when it came to divorces, Facebook still being the biggest culprit. And honestly, the wildest part of that stat might be that so many people are still on Facebook.
Boom, bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
But what's at the core of these numbers? It's not just cheating, it's the ease of secrecy. The fact that a relationship can feel like it has an invisible roommate. And it doesn't stop at infidelity. Constant scrolling creates a different type of distance. And when you're spending more time sending memes than actually talking, you slowly chip away at the intimacy that relationships need to survive. And look, I'm not saying don't send your partner that video of a dog eating spaghetti with human hands. It's hilarious. But when that becomes the primary language of your relationship, something is missing. And that's what brings us to the heart of this matter. Communication. Because DMs, they're neutral. They can land you an interview for your next podcast, connect you to a big career break, or even start a meaningful friendship. But they can also be the quiet space where a conversation with an ex diverts into that grey area, or where casual flirtation lives in those purple and grey speech bubbles. Not technically cheating, but not something you'd want read aloud either.
Shame. Shame.
Because the line between what's innocent and what's inappropriate can be blurry. A friendly exchange can over time start to carry a different energy. And if your partner was to scroll through and stumble across that conversation, well, you know what would happen. Digital boundaries aren't about the phone itself. It's about trust, perception, and how we manage our own insecurity in our relationships. Because whether we like it or not, phones have become a mirror of our character. What we follow, what we comment on, and who we DM, it all becomes part of the story that our partner pieces together about us. And just pause for a second and ask yourself what your digital comfort zone is. What would feel like a boundary cross for you? You don't have to write it in the comments, but you can if you want. Let's be real. It's exhausting. On one hand, we want the freedom to be ourselves online without somebody reading our every move like it's an inquisition. On the other hand, you want reassurances that the person that you've chosen is truly with you and not halfway in somebody else's inbox. But here's a nuance that we often miss. Social media doesn't create these problems out of thin air. It amplifies our insecurities, the patterns, the unmet needs that already exist between two people. It's not the heart eye emoji that breaks a relationship, but what those emojis represent in the context of your history, your trust, and the way that you communicate. So maybe the real question isn't should couples share their phones, or is liking somebody else's selfie a red flag? Maybe the deeper question is, do we understand each other's boundaries well enough to respect them, even when they don't match our own? Because if Fitzhugh was right that people are just one way or another, then the task of building a relationship in the digital age isn't about forcing uniformity. It's about how we negotiate, about finding that middle ground where both partners feel secure, seen, and free. And honestly, it's not easy because digital boundaries ask us to hold two truths at once. You deserve privacy, and your partner deserves security. And the tension between those two is where the work lives. I mean, just think about it. In the past, jealousy was sparked by things we could see. A long hug, overhearing a spicy conversation, or maybe catching your partner smiling a little too wide at that waitress across the room.
I got you, homie.
But now it's digital breadcrumbs. A like here, a follow there, a DM that feels just friendly enough until you scroll down and it doesn't. And the wild part is these aren't just private moments between you and your beau anymore. They're part of a performance. You see, our relationships exist in public now. You don't just date a person, you date their online presence, their digital shadow. Every picture, every comment, every scene notification becomes part of the relationship's history. So no wonder why so many couples argue about it. Not because social media invented mistrust, but because it magnifies it. It makes the small cracks look like giant fractures. And once you've seen something that shakes you, even if it's nothing, you can't unsee it. And this is the paradox of digital intimacy. We are more connected than ever before, but the constant connection often breeds more doubt than closeness. Because when your partner is laughing at their phone at midnight, you don't know if it's a TikTok, a meme from their cousin, or a conversation that you'd rather not know about. That uncertainty, that silence, works as a breeding ground for mistrust. And that's why I call social media a third party. In modern relationships, it's not just the two of you anymore. It's the endless scrolling, the late night notification. It's the hidden world of online interactions that you may never fully see. And that third party, well, if you're not intentional, it will start negotiating the boundaries of your relationship for you. So where does all this leave us? Because if social media really is this third party in our relationship, we can't just ignore it and hope for the best. We've got to understand it and figure out how to live with it without letting it run the show. And that starts with drawing distinctions. Privacy versus secrecy, because those things aren't the same thing. Privacy is saying, this is a space just for me, go away. Secrecy is, this is something I'm keeping from you because I know it would betray your trust. Now, every couple needs to sit down and decide together where that line falls. From there, it's about your digital comfort zones. One person might not care if their partner follows models, influencers, or old acquaintances. Another person might find that deeply uncomfortable. Neither perspective is wrong per se. It just means you've got to ask the right questions. Not, why are you doing this? but what makes you feel respected online and why? And let me say this, surveillance is not the answer. Scrolling through your partner's phone, playing detective, trying to catch them slipping, that doesn't build trust. If anything, it breaks it further. A healthier approach is to normalize check-ins. Hey, I saw this thing, it made me feel some kind of way, can we talk about it please? That's how we move from suspicion to open dialogue. Another practice that helps is putting the phones down altogether. Yeah, call it social media Sabbath, call it unplugging, whatever works, because if the majority of your laughter, your stories, your inside jokes are filtered through Instagram Reels or TikToks, then you're slowly starving your relationship of the intimacy it needs to breathe. Go cook a meal together, go for a walk, tell the joke instead of just sending it. That's the stuff that relationships are built on. And here's a bigger picture. Rules only stick when you write them together. Not one person dictating, you can't do this or give me access to that. Nobody wants to date a parent. Boundaries last when both people feel like their needs are respected in the agreement. Most importantly, you've got to be brave enough to talk about your insecurities. If it hurts you seeing your partner comment heart eye emojis on somebody's photo, don't swallow that down and pretend you're fine.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Say it, not as an attack, but because you're being honest. You'd be surprised how much lighter things feel when they're being voiced instead of being buried and left to fester. Social media isn't the enemy, well in this case. It's not inherently toxic, it's not inherently good, it's just a tool. It can connect, inspire, and even deepen your bond. But if you let it, it can also creep into spaces it doesn't belong and rip your relationship to shreds from the inside out. So the process of making your relationship work in the digital age is about making sure that your relationship comes first and that your phones and the apps stay in their rightful place, supporting the life you're building and not running the show. So if this hit home for you, hit like, subscribe on the way out, and tell me what your boundaries look like. It's free, and it means you might see a whole lot more of me. I'm Sam, and until the next time, make some room.